Literally just as I started the live, a phone call came in, so it might happen again. Let's hope not. Hello, everyone. Welcome, welcome. So some people are starting to get invited to the call, to the live. Welcome to those of you who are watching the replay, for those of you who are starting to come in live. Today I'm going to offer up a meditation on helping you reignite your dating confidence. So just to give you a little bit of perspective around where I come from. So I was in a relationship for 4 years and then directly in another for 21 years, which is wild, right? So I have this very long-term relationship type experience and have done extensive dating in the last little while in a very how do you call this? Not exclusive way. Yeah. So I have a bit of experience in open relationship type scenarios throughout my marriage and longer term relationship, as well as non-exclusive dating and the long-term thing. So I come from a very big, wide, varied perspective around dating, around relationships, around how we connect between partners, and with a very big open mind around what partnership looks like, right? And this is part of why I am now in the field of what I call seduction. So I call myself a seduction coach and a pleasure guide. And I find that seduction, and this transfers to so many topics more than just dating, is all about maximizing results for minimizing efforts, right? It's like, how can I solve this puzzle of life around dating, around business and entrepreneurship, for example, which are my major two things that are going on right now, where I can call what I want in, as opposed to striving and working really hard and forcing and putting all this energy for little results. How can I find a way to hold myself, my energy, the tasks that I do, the actions that I choose to make in a way that calls in, that really puts the energy into the inwards momentum as opposed to the outwards momentum, right? And so recently I spoke on my Instagram about quitting dating, which is a little ironic because I've been speaking about relationships and dating since the beginning of this year, intentionally putting it at least one quarter where I wanted to speak about relationships and dating. I find it super important, very relevant right now, especially around the pandemic and everything, and it's what I'm experiencing with my friendships and all of that right now. So it's a very, very important topic to address, and it may extend into the summer because I'm really enjoying this. So let's see how that goes. And I made a decision to stop dating, even though things were going well. So even though there was a momentum, there was a lot of people coming into my energy, and I was attracting what it seemed to be great, I made a decision. There was something inside me that knew that I had to reevaluate the territory. So I had to let go of the momentum, the edge, whatever I felt I had going, with the risk of losing it all, right? And this happens in business too, sometimes with projects. Like, are we willing to let it go to be able to reevaluate and come back to ourselves, to create that magnetism, the seduction? Because all of that comes back to, if I can recenter in myself, and this is what this meditation is going to help you do, then I will put more of this energy will come into the magnetism, the pulling in, as opposed to the me forcing and seeking and striving and trying really hard to get the thing, which tends to be more of a repelling energy. So I'm going to share a little experience with you, and I tend to talk a lot about my personal life with this because I find that it helps people identify themselves and where they are in similar places as I am, or really identify their scenarios as where I am as well. And I found that I was going through a series of repeated patterns in dating around feeling like people had not enough time for me, or I felt like I was going towards the bottom of the priority list. So this happened a few times, once after the other. And so when something like that happens for me, I don't take it too personally because I'm always thinking, okay, this is what's happening for me right now. So what am I doing or how am I being that's creating that scenario for myself? And this is one of the reasons why I chose to step back out of dating, is to take a look at that. And I'm actually curious, for those of you who have watched my videos, who know my work, who know the general tantric concepts and principles that I speak about, especially the one around you have everything you need inside of you, which I will repeat and repeat and repeat, because it's something that sinks in more and more the more we try and really embody the belief. So if I'm looking at how my external world is reflecting to me that there's not enough time for me, or that I'm at the bottom of the priorities list, what do you feel is happening? What can I do? What do I need to do? And I'm just curious to see if you are going to know this answer already, knowing the kinds of work that I do. Is to see how I'm doing that within myself. So if I see reflected back to me, my external life circumstances are people telling me or people giving me messages or feedback that they don't have time for me, that I'm at the bottom of the priorities list, who is doing that to myself really? Me, right? So starting to look at, okay, so where am I not giving time for myself? Where have I put myself on the bottom of my own priority list? Because that kind of stuff gets reflected back in our external world when it's happening inside. And it takes time and energy to know this, to actually connect to it and be like, oh shit, yeah, I've been putting way too much energy out here in the dating world, other people, and missing out on myself, really needing to ground back. And this is the reason why I decided to do this. So if you have watched, I suggest that you go watch last week's IGTV, I think it's last week's, around delayed gratification. This is one of the ways to do that, even with dating or in entrepreneurship, to take a step back, slow down, reevaluate the territory, and let it be risky to let it go, to wait for the gratification to be a little longer than you'd like, the result to take a little longer, to just trust that, yeah, I'm going to solidify this so that when I go back out there, there's less effort, it's more precise and focused into what I want, so less energy goes out into trying to figure that out, right? Reevaluation. And it's the same in business. And as I do this, as I've been able to start evaluating the yeses and the nos, what do I like in the process of dating? What do I like about the people that I've been seeing? What are the things that I really want to keep as yeses? And what are the things that are fucking exhausting, that are not good for me, that have been things that I don't want to repeat, right? It has allowed me to birth a new series of IG posts, essentially. So as I do this for myself, as I start to evaluate what are my yeses, what are my nos, which is what I'm encouraging you to do as well, it has helped me to birth a series of IG posts that are reflective of what I'm experiencing. So when I experience something, I bring you all with me, essentially, right? This is what's happening. So as I look through my yeses and nos, I started writing down a series of IG posts around dating an empowered women. And I've started speaking to other empowered women in my life around this and the things that I've been writing. And they're all like, oh my gosh, this is so good. And they really identify with it. So it'll be coming out in the next little while. I will tease you with that, slowly dripping out each post daily. So you can look out for that. Cool. Okay. So let's go into the meditation. So the meditation today is kind of like a cutting of cords, if you would call it. So some of you have probably done this. It's a way to gather your power, reclaim your power back into you during the dating process. So we tend to have these energy leaks, right? These connections we call cords connected to circumstances, people, memories sometimes that affect how we're taking action in our dating life. Sometimes stories that we tell ourselves. And this is always going to have an influence on who you choose, the things you say, the things you don't say, how you tease or not tease. All of that really gets influenced by all of these little energetic connections. So you can imagine almost like you're a tree and you've got these roots that are coming out, connected to different life circumstances and people. And I'll guide you through this so you don't have to know what exactly right now. But some of these are not feeding you. Some of these are built on anxieties, fears, not willing to let go of something because it was either very good or it gives you a rush to think about it. It gives you like a jolt of sexual energy or whatever that is. And we want to call that back to ourselves. So really take a moment to start calling those energy leaks back to our center, to reclaim our full selves so that when we show up in dating, we're not coming with the baggage of being connected to our ex and to our this and to our that and all the issues. We're really showing up as much as possible as our full selves and our full confidence. And this is what's going to help you do that. So some questions sometimes arise around these cord cutting type exercises, like, well, if I cut the cord with someone that I'm thinking about, or a past situation, or someone that's currently in our life but we're kind of not sure what's happening, what if I cut the cord and then they just disappear? They don't want to cut the link in case there's like a chance or there's a love or there's a thing happening. And what I always think of with this is that you can't choose to cut how you feel about someone or how they feel about you. You can't just decide that that changes from one day to the next, right? Something else has to happen to make that shift. But you can cut insecurities and fears. So whatever that energy link might be, the reason why they're in your head, the reason why you're still wondering and you're still kind of attached, may not be because of something that is healthy or helping you energetically. It might be something that is just draining, and that when you cut it, it could be really relieving. Or it will decipher between the two things. The love will stay, and then you're just going to call back those pieces that are afraid of losing that. So you can even do this with current relationships. Cut the bullshit, call the bullshit ties, and leave the ones that are really connected and loving, because that can't go anywhere. You can't just cut that. You can't just decide from one day to the next, I don't like that person anymore. It's not how it works. Something else has to happen to make that shift, right? So I'm going to invite you now to get into your body by taking a few deep breaths. And we're going to get into a meditative state. So I like to roll my hips sometimes to just get out of my mind into the body. Settle into your seat wherever you are. Take a few deep breaths. You can keep your eyes open or close them, whichever one is more comfortable for you. And hopefully as I settle into my body, it will encourage you to settle into yours. You can sigh out a few times if you like, to just release any kind of extra tension or energy. And now you can imagine that you are like a tree, and you've got really solid roots growing into the ground. These roots keep you sturdy and nourished and solid, and these don't move. They keep growing as you grow. You get better and better at rooting down and grounding into you. But you also have these little mini roots. It's kind of like on plants, and we call them, my mother used to call them suckers. These like leaves that you have to cut off to let the plant grow stronger and more a part of itself. So you have these little sucker roots that extend out energetically to different people and circumstances, past and present, sometimes maybe even future hopes, that we want to call back to you. So let's start now with the people that are on your mind. So the people that have been trudging around your brain lately. Maybe these are past relationships or lovers. Maybe these are missed opportunities. Think now about all of those people that have been on your mind. Maybe it's one, maybe it's three, that you seem to keep thinking about daily. They're still a part of your daily life. They keep popping up into your head. Okay, so just imagine that that is one energy connection to that person. And I'm going to ask you to call that back into you, to let that person go. The thoughts, just let the connection to that person completely drop. And slowly call that energy back to yourself. And like I said before, any kind of love or appreciation for that person will not get cut. That will end up staying. You're just calling back any obsession or perpetual thoughts that are draining your energy. So you're calling that back in. Let them be in their own energy. Call yourself back into your own space, into your own lane. And notice what it feels like in the body to do that. Are there fears that come up when you do that? And now I'm going to ask you to imagine a tie to things needing to be in a specific way in dating. So maybe some of us have links or energy ties to dating has to look in a certain way, or the partners that I choose have to be a specific way. The experiences that I have to look a certain way. That person has to be my forever everything and always in a certain way. So just imagine you have a link to those kinds of scenarios in dating. Some of them may serve you and some of them definitely don't. So I'm going to invite you now to cut the tie to things needing to look very precisely in a certain way in dating. And just call that back. If they aren't like this, if they don't do this, if they don't say this. If I don't feel this within a day. Let's leave some spontaneity and natural progression. Increasing trust in yourself and knowing that whatever takes place, you will always have the capacity and ability to modify it when you need to. Right? Can you trust yourself to modify it when you need to? That's huge. And now some of us have energy links to memories. These can be from past relationships, usually from past relationships, connections to specific people, memories. They can be experiences that we've had that were particularly marking and that we hold an energy link to. Maybe it's a feeling we once experienced with a particular scenario or person. And we really are holding on to that as being like the model of like, it has to be like that, or I want to keep that feeling or that sensation or that experience alive in me because it still feeds my excitement. And I'm going to invite you to cut the cord to that memory and just call that energy back to you. Letting that memory be. It has taught you something really fucking awesome. But can we trust now that something even greater is going to arise? Because you're developing, you're growing, you're changing. Your desired experiences will change with you. The things that will mark you will vary and expand as you do. So can we trust that there's something even more incredible around the corner? And that you are the one to create this. It has nothing to do with another person or a specific scenario. And now another really important one, and I think this is what I spoke about before, it's an important piece, is to the dating process in and of itself. So this can be either a cord around, if you're really in the dating process perpetually, if you're like I'm not going to say chronic, but there's a word for this. It's not perpetual, but I can't think about it. Someone who does dating regularly and who's always done it for a long time, or if you've been in a momentum or having a really good edge around it, can you let go of the current dating process for now and just cut that tie and bring it back to yourself for a moment in time? Can you let go of the momentum? Can you let go of the edge and your like the genius that you've created around it, whatever has been really good, to ground back into yourself, to reevaluate, almost like teasing yourself with your own dating process, to make it even stronger? Can you risk it all to make it more aligned with who you are and what you want? To be able to ask yourself the questions around it. What do I like about this? What do I like about the people I've been magnetizing? What do I really don't? What just doesn't work for me? And how can I change that? What can I know about myself more to change how and what I magnetize towards me with more confidence? And what happens when you do that? What does it feel like in your body to let go of the process? For some people who do this very often, it can feel terrifying. There's no perpetual validation from other people. That hit that we get of sexual energy, of flirtation, of aliveness in dating, right? It's huge, and it's like a trigger in the nervous system all the time, perpetually. It's hard to let that go. It's like entertainment. It's thrilling. The idea of stopping that can feel dull and boring, but there's so much amazing information in that boredom. It's tremendous. It's like, go to the boredom, sit in it, let it be uncomfortable as all hell, because you get so much good information about you and what's going on when you do that. Are there fears of being alone that come up? Super common. Am I enough without someone else's approval or validation or desire for me? Can I sit with that? And now another possible link is the box of fears, is what I call. The stories that we tell ourselves around dating. They come in all kinds of shapes and sizes, and I'm sure you'll be able to think about them, some that are more particular to you. So some of those stories can be like, there are no good men or women out there, or whoever you are attracted to. They're just, the story in the back of your head is there are no good ones out there. So imagine the choices you'll make if that's the story that's running the show, as opposed to if it wasn't. The decisions that you would make, the things you would say, if that's the inspiration and that's what's really driving your actions and your words. Or what about the story, I'm too old, or I'm too young, or I'm too whatever body type situation. I'm too shy, I'm too loud, I'm too whatever. If that's the story, and we all have some of that. If that's the story running the show, how can that influence your experience? What about the story, nobody can handle my XYZ, my kink, my flaws, my particularities, my desires? Who can possibly handle all of those things in me? That's a big one for me. And another one is, I will never experience anything like. This is kind of related to the memory, where this idea of like, I once had this great particular thing, experience, or a person or whatever, and I will never experience anything like that again. So if that's the story running the show, talk about pressure on people to like live up to a certain experience, right? So the invitation is to cut those links. Call that energy back to you with a trust, again, that you're growing, you're evolving, you're shifting, you're moving. Life is not stagnant. Life changes. That's what's so fucking great about it and exciting. And what if I sat instead in all of me being exactly what I need right now? And that the more I learn how to be confident in me, in myself, in all of the things, flaws and all, the better the experiences will get. The more I will magnetize what fits with me. The more I will recognize what fits with me. The more I will feel into oh yeah, this is something I desire right now, because I know I can feel it. It's not based on fear. It's based on what's the next thing. More exciting, you know? And now that we've cut all these ties, feel yourself as the full tree. Your roots are grounded. You've collected all of your energy. You've reclaimed all of these parts that don't need to be connected to external circumstances, people, experiences, energies. It's all right here. And Tantra is all about that. You have everything you need inside of you. And the more you can live that, the more it is magnetic to others who are also living that and not needing to tie to you to fulfill their particular thing. Yeah? When you have two whole people together, or three or four, you create a third entity that is a whole other thing that nobody even knew they wanted. It's like, this is what expansion becomes. That is beautiful. That's wonderful. No one needs someone else to complete them. That's not a thing. We can help each other with our issues, with our childhood stuff and all that. That's a huge part of relationship. But it's not about completion. You are whole. You are perfect. And what you're inviting is someone to mirror parts of yourself you didn't even know you had. Yeah? And so now, what do you want to experience in your dating life? What do you want to feel? And I want you to feel that right now. What are words that come up? Elated? I want to feel love. I want to feel ecstatic. I want to feel sexually alive. Vibrant, joyful, playful, peaceful, whatever it is. Choose something you want to experience it and feel it in your body now. Don't wait for someone else to fulfill that for you. Live it now and radiate that in your body. Like I can feel now the vibrancy as I'm speaking on a live. It always makes me a little bit nervous, but also excited. So I can feel the vibrancy, and that's what I want to fill myself with, and that's how I'm going to magnetize more of that and its expansion, is to experience it now and not wait and like plead for someone else to fulfill it for me. So as we close up this meditation, allow yourself to leave it with a full sensation of yourself, having reclaimed all these energy leaks. And you can do this again if you find that some are still kind of sticking around. It might happen. It'll probably happen. Just keep calling it back, keep calling it back, keep coming back to your lane. Play with teasing yourself a little, delayed gratification. Trust that any loving connection will remain. Nothing will get shifted there. And allow yourself to be in that fullness of yourself in your dating life, in your full confidence. And notice what that feels like in your body. Your body wants to return to these wonderful sensations when you allow them to exist, expand your capacity for pleasure in your body. It'll always seek to go back to that state. This we can trust. And there is one last message that I want to offer you. And I'm going to do this in a way so that you can really feel it. So, as I look into the camera, I can tell you right now, there is no one else like me in the world. You can search, you can look. There is no one else that is exactly like me out there, that have my energy, my vibrancy, the things that I enjoy in my life, the way that I share them, the way that I connect with people. There is no one else like that. There's no one else who's uniquely me. And the reason why I'm telling you this is not to say that I am better or worse or more or less than anyone else. It's just that I trust in my uniqueness to be the magnetism. And this is what I want you to experience for yourself. To look in the camera or to look at someone and to have that level of depth in your belief and your confidence in yourself, and like, there is no one else like me. You can like me or you cannot, right? I'm public on Instagram, half naked some of the times, right? Some people are like, wow, that's really cool. Some people are like, who the fuck does she think she is? And most people don't care. And that is totally not my business, and it's completely fine. And that's the same as it can be for you as approaching dating. It's like, there is no one else like me out there. You can like me or you cannot like me, and that doesn't impact how I value myself. Keep showing up like that. Like, are we a good fit? I'm good alone. I'm good on my own. But I would love to have someone play with me and enjoy life with me for a period of time. Let's see if that works, yeah? Cool? So that is my last message for you. Yeah. Yes, perfect. And I've got a deal in February where you can get some personal coaching from me, some private coaching online. So reach out in a DM if you want to take this process that we just did today and dive deeper in a way that is personalized to your situation. I love doing this, and I don't usually offer single sessions like this. I'm doing it in February, so take advantage of it because I have a handful left. And I will see you very soon, same time next week. And I hope you enjoyed this. I really hope that it will inspire you and that it will help you in your confidence in your dating life. And Thank you for being here with me. I always enjoy this. Okay? Have a beautiful day.